This is In Context. I'm Minji. As a multidisciplinary team of urban and landscape designers, In Context values the balance of creativity and sustainability a lot, and put inclusion to the top priority in all of our design efforts. By saying inclusion, we not only cherish the inclusion of all races, ages, and genders, but also the inclusion of all life forms, from human to non-human. We have done projects aiming at helping the reforestation in a planetary scale, providing solitary space for the lonely urban dwellers in metropolitan, and suggesting new protocols for people to utilize public space during the pandemic era. Our vision in this design competition is to build a truly inclusive homeland on which humans and other living systems subsist equally and harmonically. This new post-human territory will challenge the traditional human-centric urban development, strengthens the content of global sustainability, and redefine the concept of oasis. Planted to be the world's largest waterfront development, shaped like a crescent, the Dubai waterfront is in trouble due to financial crisis, land sinking, rising sea levels, and ecological controversies. What should be built to demonstrate Dubai's ambition to be the greatest self-sufficient and climate-friendly city in the world? Date palm remains an important part of Arab culture, while Dubai's Palm Island project is inspired by the image of a date palm. We argue that the tree can play a bigger role rather than just a graphic reference. This newly conceived date palm will support the prosperity of all life forms, provides resources and technologies to build self-sufficient communities, and trigger reimagination of the city's future. For such a goal, 3 palms are proposed in our scheme. The sacred palm is an ecological security system based on the date palm tree. Rows of date palms are planted to block strong wind and stabilize soil, as well as providing food, materials, fuel, and other resources to support the island's metabolism. The marine palm is a series of artificial islands floating on water with structures going all the way down to the seabed. The leaves are plastic containers, algae farms, and scientist centers, while the stem is sensing devices and sonar hydrophones for detecting the condition of coral reefs and its marine habitats. The terra palm is a machinic megastructure, combines the function of data center, research lab, saltwater purification, and clean energy generation. It serves as a contemporary version of the Tree of Life in supporting the city's everyday life.
So, how does the 3 palm strategy apply to the design of the island? First, the sacred palms support the self-sustaining lifestyle of the island's residents by defining the spatial framework. The marine palms are floating along the coast, while the resources they produce will be transported to the island. The terra palms are the engines below ground, offering technology and energy support for the island's daily operation. The island is reinvigorated, and the lives of human and non-human species are activated through the implementation of the 3 palm strategy. When zooming to a specific neighborhood, one can see the everyday life happening on the island. But what's behind the scene is a complicated yet highly integrated system. This is the core spirit of our proposal, the Palm Oasis, as a comprehensive system underpinning the future lifestyle of the island, just like how date palms supported the traditional lifestyle of the region in the past thousands of years. Please reimagine the future scene of the island with us, with the self-sustaining idea of the 3 palms system, and with the belief of creating a more than human neoasis for the island, for Dubai, and for the world.
Dubai is used to build a lot of high towers. So, we started to think in a different way. We made Zart. Zart is the only oasis that can survive if any disaster happen. It's a mixture between nature and technology. We made it indestructible and it has all human needs. In 2050, sea level will rise 30 centimeters. Therefore, wave breakers were used to reduce the intensity of the waves in the waters close to the shore and thus provide a safe shelter. So we started using wave breakers that produce energy at Zart. In 2100, the North Pole will melt at a very large rate, and this will lead to many incoming disasters such as storms, hurricanes and floods, and this will amount to death, destruction and the end of the world. Thus, most buildings and towers will be destroyed in many coastal countries.
Hello? Is anyone there? If you receive this, I need your help.
After the great destruction that occurred in many coastal countries, a light of hope appeared to live without the effects of disasters, and this was only at Zart Capsule's mini-city. But how is this happened? When the water level raised significantly more than expected, many coastal buildings were destroyed. Since taking the survival concept from nature, our only choice fell on the turtle, the most naturally protected being against any kinds of disasters, so we took its way of life where it is able to live both above land and below water. Zart Oasis capsules were launched automatically into the sea to sail without being affected by the existing disasters. Let's see how could this capsule mini-city survive. We have in each Zart capsule all human needs such as clear water, food, energy. Zart Oasis. It is the oasis in which you can live comfortably and reassuringly. It's the true example of the oasis as it should be. Each part of the oasis will separate automatically during the disaster. Zart will be everywhere in all coastal countries in the whole world in 2500. Zart. It's the real home. It is the safety. Zart. It's our last sanctuary.
The Great Artesian Basin, Australia's largest and deepest source of fresh water throughout the inland. Hidden beneath layers of sandstone from an epoch before humans, the Cretaceous Earth has offered us a unique geological formation for which many species benefit. Water, vital for all life on the planet, and the hallmark of the oasis. That very same Cretaceous crust emerges at the Winton Formation, a mesa rich with the footprints of the past. A fertile land, in jeopardy of desertification. The landscape is ripe for sustainable development. Like the creatures and organisms that call this land home. Self-resilience is the way of life when you live in the outback. The neOasis proposes a new ecology through architecture, infrastructure and nature. The inhabitants of the neOasis range from both human and non-human entities, which provides resources for all creatures within its landscape. The mesa becomes the home for a multi-species ecology. Tapping into the alluvial plain beneath the surface of the bedrock gives rise to a new synthetic ecosystem. With this new microclimate, biologists and other researchers are given ample opportunity to study emergent species and landscape restoration. The neOasis balances both the manicured and the wild. This balancing act between what is maintained and that which is natural plays a key role in the project. Rows of agriculture are balanced with vast open areas where nature dominates. These two exist where one is no more important than the other. They are equals. Teaming with Australian Age of Dinosaurs Limited, the project seeks to further the research works and dinosaur digs currently located within the Fossil Preparation Laboratory. Visitors will be able to engage directly with the research happening at the neOasis and witness firsthand its impact on this community. While recognizing imminent global climatic change, the neOasis draws upon its history to act as a method of carbon sequestration. Innovating beyond simple terrestrial carbon capture, the neOasis aims to pursue direct air capture and capitalize on the geomorphology of the project. Looking toward early and contemporary Aboriginal art, the neOasis draws inspiration directly from the historic and ancient pattern-making of these ancestral lands. Being as much a part of this community, the project seeks to bring those that are close and near to the land with those that come far and seek to learn, using natural delineations of the surface, water, topological tensions, and those that are synthetic, solar panel arrays. And road. A new hybrid geometry is generated. This diverse tapestry of humanity brings the neOasis specific for this site. This development brings forth a unique opportunity to generate a new future. One that is tolerant and inclusive of its inhabitants. The neOasis is a place for everybody. A diverse multicultural hub blending nature, technology, and culture. Its historical roots and traditions, and pursue new ideas in the next epoch of planet Earth.
Our society is anything but sustainable. Our population is continuously growing, our resources are becoming exhausted, we are running out of time and space. With 95% of the world's population concentrated on just 10% of the world's land, capitalizing on the abundance of renewable natural resources at our disposal provides a hope and a way forward into the future. This project explores the reimagination of the oasis to improve the livability in the face of increased desertification. The literal definition of an oasis is a fertile spot in the desert, mostly where water can be found. On a metaphorical level, however, an oasis symbolizes a moment of respite from the harsh conditions of the environment. It becomes more than just a mere fertile spot. It becomes a place of hope in the middle of despair. It becomes a promise of a better future. With our design, we intend to create more than just a place that people can live and work in, a new oasis for its inhabitants. Nestled on the foothills of a rocky clay mountain, close to the Unala River, the Ait Ben Haddou Citadel is a cultural and historical landmark of the province of Ouarzazate, Morocco. It served as an ancient trading post on the Trans-Saharan trade route, but is now a World Cultural Heritage Site. On the other side of the river lies the town of Isiwid, the place where most of the former inhabitants of the fortress moved in over the last years to escape the gradual decay of the citadel. Although a lush vegetation can be observed along the Unala River, water is not widely abundant in the area, and the desertic climate restricting rainfall also plays a part in the scarcity of water for the fortress. To establish a vital and lively oasis at the decaying citadel, we developed a system that is founded on the use of renewable natural resources as the inputs and creation of a circular ecosystem that caters to the needs of its inhabitants: shelter, food, water, comfort, energy, and trade, while utilizing waste effectively throughout the process. There are various possibilities through which this oasis could flourish by only utilizing what the surrounding environments provides us with. Our proposal consists of 3 typologies that are an armature for the system. These simple structures are modular designs that are highly adaptable, creating flexible space that can transform into whatever they are needed to be, without imposing an external identity onto the inhabitants. These typologies will be constructed from materials found within the system, wood milled from the date palm grove and earth insulated with the date palm leaves. Infill panels are placed on the exterior wall facades and assist in the collection of water and food production. The first typology is the production or economic typology, which capitalizes on the skills and materials produced on-site within the desert climate and financially support its inhabitants. Moroccans have a strong tradition of weaving. The leaves from the date palms and the processed sabra silk from the Moroccan agave will be processed and woven for export, allowing the inhabitants to strengthen their cultural traditions and produce an income. Excess food produced on-site, including agave nectar, spices, turnips, oranges, sunflowers, tomatoes, watermelons, and dates, to name a few, can also be processed and sold to surrounding villages. The second module caters to the residents within the oasis, supporting a higher density within the existing area to accommodate more inhabitants in the area and create a thriving oasis. The last module is a cultural typology, providing space for people to come together to pass on skills and traditions of place. As an inclusive area, it gives opportunity for everyone to participate in the society and ensures that everyone's needs can be met through a sense of belonging. The established system through the typologies will create an oasis perched on top of the existing ruins of the Ait Ben Haddou Citadel. Access to the settlement occur through the towers located at the edge of the existing fortress walls. These towers serve as vertical circulation for people and water distribution. This ensures a high level of permeability throughout the master plan. Water will be sourced from a nearby aquifer that uses a traditional Quatera water system. The water will be transported up to the settlement via a series of solar-powered Archimedes screws aligned within the circulation course. Typologies also feature a water collection infill panel that captures the humidity from the air and collects it within dwellings, similar to the work undertaken by Walker Water and inspired by darkling beetles of the Namib Desert. Food will be produced in allocated spaces surrounding the site and the infill panels of the modules. Plants that can grow vertical and in desert climates such as beans, peas, eggplants, cucumber, zucchini, tempeh beans, pumpkin, paprika, jicama will be grown in the infill panels. Plants that require more soil and land such as turnips, date palms, watermelon, tomato, sunflowers, and agave will be grown in the surrounding land. Sited in a desert climate, the area reaches a temperature high of up to 40 degrees Celsius and relative humidity of 60%. Within the human comfort range, falling between 22 and 27 degrees, and relative humidity of 40% to 60%. Climate analysis has revealed that the climate is comfortable for 20% of the area, making passive cooling throughout the design essential. The positioning of the village above the ruins allow for the optimal capture of the northern and southern prevailing breezes. The placement of the date palm grove to the south ensures that the warm wind from the Sahara Desert are cooled before reaching the oasis. The modules have been designed to allow for cross-ventilation through the spaces. The choice of formed earth as the primary material of the module ensures a high thermal mass and provides the opportunity for night flushing as a means of cooling. The water collection system throughout the master plan system provides opportunities for evaporative cooling and sun shading on the windows assist in reducing the internal heat gain on the inside of the buildings. Solar panels will be used to capture sunlight and convert it to usable energy to power the oasis. Solar panels will be placed on the modules in addition to a more extensive solar power farm outside of the settlement to support the energy requirements. As a precious commodity in a desert, water will be treated at a biolytics biopod that uses tiger worms and microorganisms to convert raw sewage and wastewater to high-quality irrigation water for the date palm groves and agricultural fields. Waste from the production modules, particularly food processing and weaving, can be used as fertilizers to enrich the agricultural production. These simple structures act as modular systems that are highly adaptable depending on the usage required. They respectfully add onto the existing citadel without any disruption and retaining the language and essence of the historical site. Utilizing natural resources and environmental considerations enable this design to naturally grow as an ecosystem within a desert climate, making it an oasis that meets any requirement of the human needs of its inhabitants, and ensuring cultural and economic progress.
Amidst the depressing city life, resources guzzled out over the long-gone remains of nature. The future felt as dull as the city's concrete jungle. I feel helpless. Hope is no longer with us, echoes around the city. Just then, a blaze flashes over the dark skies. The light flared so bright that people were hiding from it. A bird figure strikes faintly behind the light. After the light vanishes, people realize that seeds are scattered over the town. One of them fell into a patch of arid land and grew into a sapling. Only then the citizens realize, from the burnt ashes of life, the phoenix will rise into its glory, and so are they. The reinvention of the city begins, the oasis of the phoenix. Phoenix, as it was formed, stood after the belief of self-determination, finding the equilibrium of faith, culture, hospitality, education, economy, sustainability, and equality. The phoenix strives to turn itself into a new form of its own remains. Welcome to our sustainable city. We built this together out of dry soils years ago. Please park your vehicle here under the shades of our solar panels. We welcome visitors to stay at these apartments. The food of shopping streets are fresh from our permaculture and hydroponic system. Please try our handmade craft from the date palm grove race, managed by the women's community. Our central oasis supplies water all over the city through piping, which also serves as the downstream of the four water canals. A mosque is built on the water surface of the oasis as the religion center of Muslims. Our international school offers education with a culture-based and sustainable curriculum. The students will also be given community-based projects for permaculture and oasis development. The permaculture area consists of food forest, community farm, production forest, and husbandry. This site produces 50% of total consumption managed by the local farmers and agricultural community to reduce the dependency from outside products. The upper part of the city is the housing cluster, which was built near the field so the local residents can easily work there. The houses are built according to the incremental housing and designed based on sustainability principles. Each block of the neighborhood is equipped with its own water treatment plant and waste pickup sites. The mini oasis is built on the center of existing buildings that are reused for creative culture centers, including the women area, the women's center, as well as the neighborhood council. Learning Center is the heart of the learning community and networking of the city, where residents and visitors are able to hold meetings. Something that is as small as seed can bring the significant development if everyone is hand in hand. This is the glorious era that must be preserved, where the sky is blue and the gardens are green for the longest time. All this time, the phoenixes are secretly watching them behind the trees and show their fire wings and the sun to the sky. Nobody knows why. One thing for sure, the birds of hope continue their journey looking for another land.
Hello everyone and welcome to our project neOasis. We are Resilience. There is Vipin, who is from Mauritius, and I am Evelyn, and I'm from Switzerland. We met at Bond University in Australia, where we very much enjoyed studying together. Our team name, Resilience, contains elements of the different languages we speak. This fusion of languages complements our philosophy, bringing together people and having a good time, while respecting and appreciating each other. We both traveled a lot and developed a great passion for our Earth. However, we agree that due to the enormous impacts of climate change, we must become more resilient. This is exactly why we chose this word to be our team name. The site is located in Australia's outback and is characterized by a hot, semi-arid climate. The area is actually known for being the most extensive and productive dinosaur deposit in Australia. Design-wise, our neOasis is a fusion of traditional elements of oasis and innovative technologies, creating self-sustaining habitable systems. We are using water as the resource around which the buildings are placed. Concentric circles allow us to create an urban setting with equal access and no discrimination. We also have been inspired by the fossils found on the site and decided to design around dinosaurs, which also enables us to create continuity and a sense of belonging for the population. For example, we are using eggshells as a basis to create habitable cocoons. Due to the prevailing weather conditions, they require good ventilation. Therefore, to create aeration, the buildings will be elevated. Installing a cradle-to-cradle design with locally available materials allows us to put in place a regenerative and circular economy, promoting a sustainable way of living from one generation to the next.
We are Tiaj. In buffered space at Kazan University, we address experimental design and social patterns, competing with the world's best architecture schools. Our students are idea generators who can conduct work from the initial concept to detailed design project. In a single space, diverse students conduct visionary research and practice, using professional tools from hand drawing to digital prototyping. Our studio has won architectural competitions in the USA, Canada, China, and Europe regarding sustainable construction, eco-materials, traditional lifestyles, and symbiosis with nature. By raising courageous professionals, our city and the world will be transformed.
What is an oasis city? A safe place to work, walk, and rest. It is EXPO2020, a pilot neighborhood for a future island city in Dubai. It reinterprets the legendary urban grid, blending the site's post-industrial landscape with a strong multi-comfort strategy. The layout features a huge plaza, semi-private community alleys and courtyards, immense archways, intricate facades, and brightly lit horizontal urban farms. Art centers in ex-warehouses, neighbor community centers, on rooftops and ground floors. Holistic environment control system ensure the dwellers' comfort with green roofs and facades, shady balconies, thermal and solar panels, and marine water filtration. Accessible pink-led urban grocery farms provide healthy local food. A pedestrian bridge shows a charming skyline of the pilot neighborhood.
It is a detailed model that can become a prototype. We are TIACH. In Buffett Space at Kazan University, we address experimental design and social patterns, competing with the world's best architecture schools. Our students are idea generators who can conduct work from the initial concept to detailed design project. In a single space, diverse students conduct visionary research and practice, using professional tools from hand drawing to digital prototyping. Our studio has won architectural competitions in the USA, Canada, China, and Europe regarding sustainable construction, eco-materials, traditional lifestyles, and symbiosis with nature. By raising courageous professionals, our city and the world will be transformed.
Can there be a dream city in the Australian outback? Dinawood is the epicenter of cinema fantasy worlds within the famous Dinosaur Trail. Blending iconic buildings with natural hills, Dinawood City fosters local businesses and arts, attracting tourists, artists, and ecology scientists. The existing road becomes Avenue Australia, a vibrant storyline of sustainable urban life. It impresses visitors with monumental architecture resembling ancient rocks and with dynamic circular energy technologies. Green Dinawood Hills with a cable railway lead to the natural prehistoric scenery, while the city itself resembles a film studio. Public squares bustle with events like cinema pavilions. Experimental housing provokes personal gatherings. As a creative production site, the city leaves a low-carbon footprint. Its game-like patterns inspire people to be curious and creative.
It is a detailed model that can become a prototype.
Hi, we are Team Revive. My name is Megan Cantillano. I'm an architectural graduate from UNSW. We also have Raquel Cuevas, who is a business graduate from UCID, and our last team member is Rakaya Sawa, who is also an architectural graduate from UTS. So our team philosophy with Team Revive is ingenious designs stem from diversity and excellence. We want to do this through sustainable design techniques, and hopefully we can reduce our impact on the earth whilst enriching people's lives. Our vision for the Kazaa of Ait Ben Haddou is to create an inclusive environment in which provides a better opportunity for the community to be involved in the creation and maintenance of the new facilities we provide for them in conjunction with a modern-day oasis. Connecting the community through shared experience will enhance their lives and futures. Located at the foot of the High Atlas mountain range in Morocco, located next to the Unila River, is a Kazaa Ait Ben Haddou. The UNESCO Heritage Listed location, well known for its backdrop for big Hollywood movies, currently shows little to no inhabitants and acts more as a tourist destination now. Ait Ben Haddou is a great example of ancient clay architecture and old building techniques. The Kazaa had almost been abandoned in favour of a new village on the other side of the river, but an enlightened UNESCO investment in installing running water and a sewage system has reversed the decline so that today 10 houses are inhabited. There is still no means of main electricity within the Kazaa, but we aim to use renewable energy to solve this and bring more people to the site. Our design concept consists of reviving the already existing buildings by adding more facilities for people of the town to use, such as electricity and running water. Using sustainable architecture and design techniques to address the bioclimatic issues and socio-climatic points to avoid desertification and also give equal opportunity to the villagers by reteaching them traditional building techniques and also new techniques to create a self-sustainable village for themselves. Our design proposition is that we are suggesting a new village centre with the production of new infrastructure. Our oasis strategy is reinstating the Katara technique. We created this using sails in which form was inspired from the date palm trees from the oasis. The construction consists of using wood from palm trees and fabric made by weaving. This can be done by villagers and passed down to future generations. Powering the oasis. To bring power electricity to the side of the Kazaa, we will tap into a solar power plant in Noor, which is located 40 kilometres away, and the Kazaa to provide electricity to the town through the national grid. We also want to include separate solar panels as a backup source, which inhabitants can install easily on the roof. We found a new technology that is film-like and can be installed very easily and printed from special computers. Re-educating traditional practices. In order to create equal opportunity and allow all villagers to be a part of a thriving town, we can use old weaving techniques where women can learn and reteach the skill and technique to other people. The Katara can be created by the men or women who are up to the challenge. All of the new proposed buildings will be prefabricated blocks to create an easier build. Our typologies. We also aim to introduce 3 new typologies to the new village centre at the top of the hill. With this new area, we hope to create a space in which the community can gather and enjoy together. We plan to propose new markets, some education hubs and working hubs. These spaces are very adaptable to what the community will want and use the spaces for. These new spaces will give great opportunity for learning, working and trading. Using local materials, it will not only be sustainable but very low costing and energy efficient for our construction methodology. It will also be easier to teach the locals construction skills and also for them to maintain it. The buildings will be made from local materials such as prefabricated clay, rammed earth walls, timber, palm rafters, woven fabric ceiling which will allow women to participate, and local craftsmanship. Window types that keep the traditional architecture with some design changes to improve performance. Also, we will be implementing good passive design methods. Everything has been carefully integrated into passive design strategies to create livable habitats. Modular windows that can turn in accordance to solar access and wind access at any time of day. Woven fabric used in the roof construction will act as a local insulation reflecting the traditional customs. The placement of the buildings will further allow circulation through the town and also small pockets of open spaces where events can occur. Also controlling the wind access and solar access for certain buildings. Bringing solar power to the town will give universal access to safe and affordable drinking water and sanitation. Solar panels as well as reintroduction of a Katara will create a sustainable environment for the town. Our urban circulatory of resources begins with the environment. Water source is then taken to the oasis, which produces food and vegetation. This then circulates to the community through cultivation and markets, then food consumption, and then down to food waste management, going back in the oasis to start the cycle again. We aim to make this a very sustainable part of the new life of the villagers that come over to our site, and hopefully it will enhance their lives.
The Oasis Lab is a team of 3 young architecture students from Morocco. Nada, Raja, and Sukaina decided to take up the neOasis challenge to come up with innovative solutions regarding the future of desert oasis. Our team, built around numerous skills and enriched by various cultural references, develops knowledge and identity that crystallizes through shared experiences. Driven by the constant search for quality, we share the values that underpin our achievements and goals: creativity, rigor, and innovation. Together, we have built an ambitious common vision of the architectural and urban project, convinced that each project is a unique response that arises from the encounter between a use and a geographical and cultural context. Our team philosophy is about starting from the existing and going back to our sources to rediscover and learn from our ancestral heritage in a modern approach adapted to today's changes. Located in the foothills on the southern slopes of the High Atlas, in the province of Ouarzazate, the site of Eit Ben Haddou is the most famous qsar in the Unila Valley. It's a striking example of southern Moroccan architecture. It's an extraordinary ensemble of buildings, offering a complete panorama of pre-Saharan earthen construction techniques. The oldest construction did not appear to be earlier than the 17th century. The site was also one of the many trading posts on the commercial route linking ancient Sudan to Marrakesh by the Dra Valley and the Titin Tlaout Pass. The region of Eit Ben Haddou includes 4 main levels: the Makhzen, the Qsar, the river and oasis, the new center of Eit Ben Haddou. The main objective of the Oasis Lab is to reflect and advocate the potential future of Qsar Eit Ben Haddou while celebrating the Oasian culture. Through the use of materials, technology, and landscaping, the project primarily explores and attempts to address the following: breaking the depletion of the oasis and its habitat, combating desertification, ways the Oasis Lab can impact and contribute to the surrounding areas, evolving labor skills in Qsar Eit Ben Haddou, highlighting Moroccan culture and the desert oasis experience, and improving livelihood opportunities. A word that brings so many concepts to one's mind in climatic, social, lifestyle, historical, and financial fields. An oasis is a place in desert that contains water, supplied by spring or another underground water source. With this in mind, the Oasis Lab sums up the intent of the project to reflect the oasis experience and its ecosystem. Also, an oasis is often depleted of its natural resources. The Oasis Lab attempts to combat desertification through traditional techniques: controlled water collection and salination, seeding, careful selection of plants, soil modification, and renewable and recyclable energy. The project attempts to symbolize the oasis of the future by trying a new way of using traditional materials and advocating to improve labor skills. The Oasis Lab is made up of 3 main zones: the workshop area, the research center, and the exhibition gallery. The research center is dedicated exclusively to the issue of desertification, and the exhibition gallery exposes our ancestral techniques. The project aims to contribute through urban and architectural solutions for the self-resilience of the region. The lab will consistently observe the health of the oasis, its surrounding and landscape, and its habitat. It will continuously test for new ways to ensure access to sustainable food, energy, and environmental resources in the Saharan Desert.
Greetings everyone! We are Urban Weavers. I am Nazila Karim. My area specialty is in urban and regional development.
I'm Karol Hazmi Zaini and I'm an urban designer.
Urban Weavers' philosophy is to weave all elements within and around the chosen area to create a tapestry which represents the empowerment of a community as a whole, particularly women in the context of urban Middle Eastern settings.
The current neOasis site sits strategically between 4 neighborhoods that sits along the ridges of the hill. The main third ring road separates the pedestrian movement to other locations within the 1 kilometer radius. In the future, with the implementation of the future bus routes in Mecca, this area will be an important transit that would benefit the local residents and visitors alike.
The vision for Kudai Oasis is a 21st century urban village that incorporates sustainable living. Noor is the key pillar where nurture is caring and encourage the growth of the settlement. Usable costs in materials or assets that can be utilized for the common good, and resilient with the ability to support itself through subsistence and withstand to any challenges. There are 10 NEO programs that would support Noor. These are NEO Building Materials, NEO Productivity, NEO Food, NEO Renewable Energy, NEO Inclusion, NEO Networks, NEO Water, NEO Socio-Cultural Regeneration, Neo Palm Grove, and Neo Circularity. Kudai Oasis retains and improves the existing urban form, an urban village that produces its own food, well connected to other parts of the city, and its layout is an attractive to visit and enjoy the scene. Kudai Oasis gives opportunity for women to become part of the urban village. While their roles of looking after the family is a huge responsibility, the urban setting provides spaces for women to involve in the social economy through gardening, hospitality, and dissemination of cultural knowledge.
Our design proposal includes a village plaza with urban farming for community gardens to be set up, linking the neighborhood with pedestrian paths that give access to future bus transits. The rooftop are ideal for other programs that will include solar panel, vertical farming, and leisure decks. The surrounding area are ideal for the planting of date palms as they are versatile plants in the region that provides nourishment, shading, and building materials. Surrounding the Kudai Oasis will be hiking path as a recreation and leisure facility for local villagers and Meccans in general. The herbarium is the center for disseminating of local knowledge, especially amongst women as they are the knowledge holder of medicinal plants and uses. Kudai Oasis maintains its urban form and encourages the use of local vernacular Hijaz architecture as the identity.
We hope that our idea will uplift the informal settlement of Kudai to become a model for sustainable urban settlement. Thank you!
Vision Lab would like to acknowledge the Koa people, traditional custodians of the land on which this project takes place. We pay respect to the elders past, present, and emerging. For our concept in designing a settlement, we'll begin with an exploration of our existing formal and informal urban worlds. Within our formal urban world, we see positive traits such as structures which can enable positive change, along with evolving knowledge and technologies. However, we also see negative impacts such as overregulation, overstretching of resources, and poor community cohesion. These negative outcomes can lead to the informal urban world as a response. Here, in many cases, we see a strong community arrangement. However, these settlements tend to have poor physical outcomes such as poor health and safety and difficulty accessing resources. We can also look to the past for insights. For example, the way in which Indigenous Australian communities traditionally work together to hunt and gather resources in order to sustain their entire community. EXPO represents a scenario which incorporates some of the structural elements of the formal world and aims to facilitate informality through community-based systems. To achieve this, we've taken an urban design approach which looks at the ecology of the neighbourhood holistically. First, we looked at the site to learn how native biodiversity survives the climatic conditions. We noticed that the natural elevated plateau protects native vegetation growth and habitats along the southern fringes. Learning from this, we've elevated our settlement to mimic the landform and create protected spaces for nature to flourish. By also integrating man-made water capture and storage technology, we can create a small artificial wetland system which can grow over time and enhance the overall environment, merging the urban and natural worlds within one ecological system. Beyond this, we must also focus on social integration and productivity. We've aimed to create diverse spaces for residents to gather as a community within buildings and outdoors. Large structures on the site can act as community and productive spaces, while smaller pods are primarily used for residential purposes. Community buildings can accommodate education and business-based activities, such as an informal university, where educators and students can consider their own self-learning and research opportunities. A connection to the formal world should be retained here for a successful scenario, which creates a feedback loop of knowledge resources and businesses between this neighbourhood and the formal world. For our environmentally sustainable outcomes, EXPO will require an initial structure to enable a self-sufficient scenario. For this, we can take inspiration from housing structures developed for similar climatic conditions, which focus mostly on cooling and water capture opportunities. These can be integrated with modern technologies such as solar capture, biogas energy sources, and passive energy design. Individual dwellings will allow for mostly self-sufficient units, with the exception of food. Though we can learn from our past and our context in utilizing native food sources, the nature of our climate changing and larger populations require us to rely on wider food sources for certain crops. Within this scenario, the community will need to engage and work together to collectively manage their resources and food production, especially as they develop and grow. We believe successful, sustainable settlements require a cohesion of social and physical solutions, which we have explored in this scenario through an urban design-based approach. More details on our approach can be found within our accompanying presentation. Thank you for your time.